Hi, I am Rugved from Baha Alumni Committee. So basically, building upon what ATS team had shown on the vehicle modeling session. So I'll mostly walk you through the Baha specific things on the vehicle modeling or the vehicle dataset in the car maker. And I hope that everyone has gone through the guidelines that we had shared to you via mail. If not, then we want you to go through the guidelines first, go through the quick start guide, go through the guidelines, and then with all the training that you will get in these 4 days, last day will be tomorrow. And building upon this, you can start modeling your own vehicles and start fine tuning it for the main dynamic event. So I'll just share my screen. Karthikeyan, I'm audible, right?
Yes, Rugved, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Karthikeyan, can you please confirm so that I can start?
Rugved. Yes, Rugved, we can see your screen.
Okay. Okay. So I request all to first go through the guidelines before you starting with the car maker. And after you go through the guidelines, you will also get an idea how to start with the basic vehicle modeling. So that using that, you can build upon that and go in optimizing your vehicle. Okay. So starting with the car data set, as already Vasant and Karthikeyan told you, you have to create a project. After creating the project, you can name the project file as you want after selecting OK. And after that, when you want to do any additions or optimizations on that vehicle dataset, then you just have to select that particular file from C. So I have named my project Baha Buggy Modeling. So I'll select that. Then you have to select the car. Car will be selected from here. Go to product examples. You can select the demo car here, this demo car, and you can click on OK, and then you can go on optimizing it. So I have already modeled a car. I will be selecting that. Okay. So in this particular graphics window, you cannot see a proper vehicular graphics, and you can only see a wireframe. That is because I have modeled a car close to a Baha buggy, and the graphical part of it we have not yet optimized on that. Has not yet optimized on this particular vehicle, so that's why you are seeing a wireframe. Now, starting with particularly the vehicle dataset, I'll be mostly walking you through the vehicle dataset. So, going to parameters, car. Oh, okay. So, in this vehicle dataset, you can see first in the assembly tab, I'll walk you through the different subsystems: assembly, body, suspension, steering, tires, brake, and powertrain, one by one. And this will be in coordination with or some of the values that we have already shared in the IPG car maker guidelines. So yeah, first we'll go to the generator. So generator already today in today's meeting it has been explained by the ATS team. So after, if you do the modeling here initially in the vehicle dataset generator, and after that, if you model your vehicle in the vehicle dataset here, so the values that you have put in generator, this dataset will override that. So it is not necessary to go into detail here. You can just model a car close to your actual car in this vehicle dataset generator. Now this data out of range it is showing because as already the test mentioned, the software is for commercial vehicles, and Baha Buggy doesn't come particularly under a commercial vehicle, so that's why this is coming. But there is no need at all to worry about this. Okay, so starting with the assembly, in the reference frame, you can see the vehicle FR1 reference frame, which is set as 00. Now, if you go towards the graphic, you can see here all these points. You can just unselect those. Now, you can see this X, Z, and XY where it is intersecting. So this particular point, the FR1, that is the origin of all the values that we will be putting further in the car maker. It comes in the rearmost point. If you trace the rearmost point of the vehicle on the ground, so that becomes your 000. That is the vehicle reference frame FR1. Okay. This overall mass, it is directly calculated by all the data that you put into the car maker. Into the engine mount, so there are two types of engine mount basically. One is the rigid engine mount. Rigid engine mount basically, when you select the rigid engine mount, the car maker interprets that your engine has been directly attached with your roll cage. There is what you can say, there is no bushing in between, be it a metallic bushing, be it a hydro mount, or be it a flexible bushing. It is not there, and it is directly mounted on the chassis. So when you select the rigid, then there is no need to put any of the stiffness or damping values of the bushing particularly. So while initial modeling, you can just select the mounting as rigid, and afterwards, if you want to go into detail, then you can select this generalized joint force, 3 explicit or 4 explicit force elements, and then you can go on putting the stiffness and damping values at each of the force elements. And the details of this you can easily find the reference in the reference manual or the IPG users guide. So currently I am selecting it as rigid. Now as I am selecting it as rigid, I'm not defining any frame engine, because if I select, say for example, 4 explicit force elements, here I have to define the position and orientation of each of these force element with reference to the engine reference frame. So if I am selecting rigid, then you can leave this as default. Moving on to the body, you can leave the body part as default. Coming towards chassis, so here you have to define the wheel carriers and the wheel centers: front left, front right, rear left, rear right. The position of the wheels and the masses of each of the wheel carrier and the wheel, including their moment of inertia. So moment of inertia, you can easily calculate it, or you can also calculate it with the help of any CAD software, and the masses. So these particular things you need to define here. The power train part. So in the power train for M Baha teams particularly, you can skip all the things and you can only concentrate on the engine and the gearbox and the tank tab. These three are only of importance to you. For the E Baha teams, the electric motor and the gearbox M in drive source 0. You only have to put the values for these two things: gearbox M and electric motor. So first speaking for the M Baha, engine, gearbox and tank. So you are keeping the reference frame as FRD. FRD is the design reference frame. So as you are not changing anything here and you are keeping the FR1 as 00, FR1, FRD implies FR1 only. So FRD is equal to FR1, and you can take 00 as the origin for all the values that you put in the chassis, the position of the wheels, or in the engine, or defining the engine, gearbox or tank positions. So these are defined considering the COG, center of gravity of all these things, engine, gearbox, tank, with the origin that you have defined as FR1. The FR1, again I'm telling, where it comes at the rearmost point of the vehicle when you trace it to the ground. So it is at the ground, that is the rearmost point of the vehicle. And then the orientation and the mounting. So mounting, you can just select FR1A. So what is FR1A and FR1B? We will go upon that when we see the body tab. So currently I'm leaving it as FR1A. And same for the eBahar teams, you have to define the electric motor and gearbox M values with respect to the FR1 only. And you can select FR1A here. And then coming towards the trim load, rest all these things you have to ignore. Yeah, and for the eBahar teams, the power supply. The power supply definition also you have to give the position definition of the power supply. Okay, then the trim load. The trim load is any extra load that you want to position in the vehicle. It can be panels, it can be battery in the sense if you are using a data acquisition system on your vehicle, then the battery required for that, not the battery to control your electric motor. So in the trim load, it is mandatory for all the teams to define the driver load. As it has been already put in the IPG Carmaker guidelines, you have to define the driver loads. The mass of the driver will be kept as 75, should be kept at 75 for all the teams. And the position and moment of inertia, it can be defined by you. Mounting you can select as FR1A. So this you have to note it down that trim load one, you have to, all the teams have to compulsory put in driver, and they have to define a mass of 75 kg for the driver. And the position they can, according to their vehicle design, according to the position of their seat, they can define the position. And mounting you can select FR1A. Other trim loads you are free to edit as per the necessity. Okay, so this was about the assembly tab. Now moving towards the body tab. In the body tab, first is the structure. So I have currently selected here rigid structure. There are two things, rigid and flexible. If you select a rigid structure, then you only have to put in the position, mass and moment of inertia for all the sprung masses here. So all the sprung masses excluding the driver, because the driver already we are defining it in the trim load part. Okay, so in the rigid model, that's what you have to do. Only the position of all the sprung masses and their inclusive mass. If I select a flexible vehicle body, the teams which have the values for the torsional and bending stiffness, they can go on and select the flexible vehicle body. This completely depends on the teams, depending on the values that they have. So here you can define two things, characteristic value or 1D lookup table. Wherever across this vehicle dataset tabs in any of the subsystem, wherever you come across the characteristic value or 1D lookup table mode, we recommend you to select 1D lookup table. That is because the number of node points that you define, the more number of node points that you define specifically, the accurate your vehicle is going to be, vehicle model is going to be. And now the FR1A and FR1B that we saw here in the powertrain tab, FR1A and FR1B. So what is that? It is basically, you can see here on the right side, body A and body B. So basically in most of the commercial vehicles, the front and the rear, it is the rear body, it is considered as different, and between both of those there is a mounting. So that's why the front and rear body is defined as body A and body B in the commercial vehicles. So if it is the case, then body A comes as FR1A, body B will come as FR1B. But as in the case of Baha vehicles, front, rear, everything is encompassed within a single chassis. So you have to select, there is no need to define FR1A or FR1B. And that's why wherever you come across this FR1A or FR1B, FR1A 1A is equal to FR1B is equal to FR1, which is equal to FRD. So you have to be clear on that. So this is for the flexible model. Teams which have the values for the torsional and bending stiffness, you can define a characteristic value for the stiffness, or you can define the 1D lookup table, angle versus torque. And the more the number of node points you can define, the accurate your results are going to be. The amplification value, wherever the amplification value comes across any of the subsystem, amplification value simply means a multiplying factor. So say for example, the characteristic value of stiffness I have put 1500, and the rotation vibe, that is the bending stiffness, I have put 2400, and the amplification is 1. If I change the amplification as 1.5, then while simulation, CarMaker will consider torsional stiffness of this body as 1500 into 1.5. The bending stiffness will be the same because I have put the amplification as 1.0. So this can be used for reverse engineering to find out the optimum to optimize your any of your particular subsystem. So amplification can be used for that. But when you will submit the actual final car file, then after this will after doing reverse engineering and after coming on the optimum value, you have to put that particular optimum value here. Say for example, my optimum value is 1800. And you have to put the amplification 1.2. That's it. So amplification can be used for reverse engineering and finding out the optimum values. Okay. See here also amplification is there. So currently for the basic simulation or the basic modeling, I am selecting it as rigid. Initially, we recommend you, the alumni committee recommends you that you select whatever basic things are there. Like here body you can select as rigid. In the assembly we have already selected engine mount as rigid. And once you have got a running vehicle, you have got a proper running vehicle which simulates in the CarMaker without showing any error, then you can go on and try out the different things and optimize your vehicle accordingly. But initially just get a running vehicle, and then you can do the optimization with the values that you have. The outer shell, the .obj part already Vasant has explained properly, so I won't go here. This is particularly for visualization, and you can create your .obj file with the use of any 3D visualization tools or softwares. Also, we have mentioned a link in the IPG CarMaker guidelines for creating a .obj file of the vehicle from CAD model. So that video also you can refer, or you can also refer any resources via internet. Aerodynamics. So as mentioned in the guidelines, the role of aerodynamics is of very less significance in the Baja vehicles due to the less speed that we have. And hence, this year we will be eliminating this parameter. So you can just select not specified, model not specified. So CarMaker won't interpret this model while running the simulation. But for study purpose, you can definitely explore these things. But finally, for a running vehicle, you can select this model as not specified, and you can leave the marker and center of pressure also as default. This was about the body dataset. Coming towards suspension. So suspension being the vital component of a Baja vehicle, so we recommend you to go through the guidelines so that you get an idea of this dataset. Also refer the user guide and the reference manual side by side, so that you get a very clear idea about how the interpretation of the suspension system is done by CarMaker GUI. So in the spring part, you have to define the front and rear stiffness of the spring. Here you can see the characteristic value and 1D lookup table. So characteristic value you can put directly, or you can select 1D lookup table and you can define different node points here. So currently you can see that this curve is a straight line. It is a linear curve. But when you try to define multiple node points, say for example, you have defined some 10 node points here. So this curve might be a distorted curve, but there is no need to worry. You can go on simulating that. But we recommend you to increase your node points as high as possible, because if the node points are low, then there might be an issue with the simulation and it can show error, because suspension has a tendency of forced restoration gradually. So that's why the more the number of node points, the better the simulation will run. So currently I have selected a characteristic value and amplification is 1.0. This you can use for reverse engineering, as I already mentioned previously, and you can find out the optimum stiffness value for required for your vehicle. Similarly, for the rear, you have to define it. The secondary spring is basically, it calculates the secondary spring force generated by the suspension bushing torsion torque along the bushing rotation axle during wheel travel. So this is up to you whether you have to define this or not. And if you don't have this value, or if you don't know how to define it, then you can leave it as not specified. But for the teams which have this particular value and who are able to define this, they can select characteristic value or 1D lookup table and define the stiffness. For basic run, you can select not specified for the secondary spring. Then the damper. The damper is also the same. For front and rear, you have to define the damping characteristic value or the lookup table of force versus velocity. Then the amplification value. Then the damping value for push and pull. The amplification value you can put as 1. And yeah. Damper top mount. Damper top mount is basically what if the type of mounting is flexible type. If the type of mounting is of rigid type, then you can just unselect this option of damper top mount at the bottom, which you can see. And if you select this option, then it means that you are using a flexible type of mounting for your damper. That's why it implies a damping and stiffness value. But if it is a rigid type of mounting, then you just have to unselect this value. Amplification value will be 1.0. Okay, just a second. Okay, so as you can see here in the damper also, yeah. So I define a particular value of force versus velocity, the different node points, and the curve looks distorted. It is okay since if you are designing a damper of or you are using it off the shelf and you don't have the accurate or exact values, and you can just go on defining the maximum node points and the curve will be test automatically. Okay, so the amplification currently I have selected 1. You can put different type of values in amplification so that the multiplying factor will change, and you can do reverse engineering, see the output and determine whether you are getting the result that you want from the suspension that you have designed, and then you can finalize or optimize the values. This was about the damper. Now you may say that Baha vehicle consists of a single strut, which is a complete encompassment, which completely encompasses the spring and damper system. Then why do you need to define the values separately for spring and damper? But in any suspension model has spring and damper in a parallel setting. It is never in a series setting. And even if it is encompassed within a single body, the spring and the damper part, it is still in a parallel type of arrangement. So if you see in detail the arrangement of the strut, the pneumatic strut that most of the Baha teams are using, then you will automatically see that it is a parallel type of arrangement. Because if it is a series type of arrangement and there is a spring and damper in series, then the effect of the damper will be nullified because there won't be any restoration force available for the damper, and hence it is always in series, always in parallel. And that's why even if it is a strut mount, even if it encompasses spring and damper in a single pneumatic strut, it has a spring and it has a damper in a parallel type of arrangement. And hence you have to define the spring and damper individually. Okay, now moving towards the buffer. So for referring what a buffer is, you can just go to the user's guide. I think there is some issue in opening the PDF files, but okay, you can see the user's guide and you can check what does a buffer mean or buffer one mean. it is basically, it is used to restrict the movement of your axle, the buffer, so that your axle doesn't go beyond a certain point. And that's why the buffer is there. Most of the Baha vehicles don't use a buffer, and hence you can simply put the amplification at 0. Once you put the amplification at 0, and you can leave the rest as default, no need to go in. If you leave the amplification at 0, then the car maker will interpret that this particular vehicle doesn't have a buffer in it. Here also, here I have put the amplification at 0. So amplification is an important characteristic in reverse engineering, and also changing the interpretation of the car maker while running the simulation. But do remember, if in the spring or damper you put the amplification at 0, then it might show error while simulation, and your simulation won't run successfully. So you have to remember that it is 100% necessary, and do not forget to define the amplification as 1 here, and the damper also, and define the characteristic of spring and damper, the stiffness of the spring and the damping value of the damper, or your simulation will definitely show an error. Buffer amplification will be 0, buffer 1 same, you can leave the buffer 1 as default, that is not specified. Moving towards the stabilizer. Now most of the teams are using stabilizer at the rear. For the front, you can put the amplification value at 0 if there is no stabilizer at the front. The stabilizer is another name for anti-roll bar, which most of the teams use at the rear. So anti-roll bar, you can define the stiffness value, and amplification you can put 1.0 for the teams which have a stabilizer at the rear. And for the teams which have not designed their suspension with a stabilizer in the rear or without a stabilizer, then you can simply put amplification at 0 and you're good to go. And coming towards the kinematics part, you can see different 3 files are here: linear 2DOF, 3DOF, and SKC file. But this year the teams have to only define the linear 2 and or 3DOF model in the front, and linear 1, 2, or 3DOF model in the rear. It is possible for study purpose, maybe if you go to the SKC file and you can go to the model open, and when you proceed, and there are different examples of double wishbone, 4-link at the rear, and if you select this double wishbone, okay. So this is basically MBS, that is multi-body suspension system. And this open MBS editor, this particular thing comes here. When you open MBS editor, you can define different hard points and different masses and the moment of inertia for your wheel carriers, for your wishbone, steering rack, steering rod. But if in this particular data set you don't define the values correctly, then you will definitely get an error. And that's why this year, as this is the first time that the teams will be using IPG Car Maker. Also, it is the first time that we are conducting the Baha event virtually. That's why we are not allowing the MBS file. And simply you have to select a linear 2 or linear 3 DOF suspension kinematics in the front, and 1, 2, or 3 in the rear. MBS or the SKC file, you can study those, but it won't be allowed in the virtual event to use it. So you have to use the 2 or 3 DOF model in the front, and in rear 1, 2, or 3 DOF. Now the details regarding this 2 or 3 DOF model or 1, 2, or 3 DOF model in the rear, these you can refer the request form or the user's guide or the reference manual, and it will clear your doubts regarding this. Also, Ravinder has already explained this in detail, and there's no need to jump into this in detail. You can refer the manuals. And yeah, so using this particular kinematic step, it is possible to change or optimize the dynamic characteristics of your vehicle. Also, you might say that you have to change your turning radius. Then it is possible using this kinematic step. The turning radius or the wheel travel, all of this has to be defined on using this kinematic tab. So remember to use this tab to optimize your vehicle, to optimize the turn characteristics of your vehicle also. Okay. Now the compliance tab, you can simply leave it as not specified. the wheel bearing tab now. In the wheel bearing, teams can define the wheel bearing friction. Okay, just give me a second. Okay, so in wheel bearing, the wheel bearing friction can be defined for the front and rear wheels, or else it can be unselected and left as default. But as most of the teams have the values available with them for wheel bearing friction, you can definitely define these values, the friction coefficient and the bearing radius. And the amplification should be put as 1.0. Okay, so currently for the basic run, I'm selecting unselecting this value, and then external forces. So compliance and external forces has to be left default. Buffer and buffer one has amplification has to be selected at 0, and rest all the other things have to be defined as per the depending on the values that are available with you, and depending on your design, the kinematics, the type of degree of freedom, the whether it is 2 or 3 DOF, whether it is 1, 2 or 3 DOF, it is to be decided depending on the type of suspension that you have designed, depending on the number of links it has. Okay, so external forces also you can refer the user's guide or the reference manual to see the details about the external forces. Basically, the external forces can be added at any point. Say, for example, at the mounting point of your spring or the damper, it can be added. And external force also you can use it for reverse engineering. And rather than that, I will say for optimization. So as you are using the amplification or the multiplying factor for the optimizing your values, similarly you can use the external forces for optimizing your values, for optimizing the for finalizing the or selecting the stiffness or damping values or the force values, the capability or the availability of force with your suspension system. So this external forces tab can be used for that. But at the end, for the virtual dynamic events, you have to leave it as not specified. You can use this tab while optimizing the values while using the car maker and for finalizing your suspension system. But for the final virtual event, you have to select this is not specified only, and you can include those values here. Rather than include, I'll say by using this particular type, you will have already optimized the spring and dampers, and from that you will have the stiffness value of spring and damping value of your damper accordingly. Okay, so this was about the suspension tab. Now coming towards the steering tab, only two types of steering models are needed for the Baha teams mostly. Static steer ratio, which is angle based, and dynamic steer ratio, which is steering torque based. So for static steer ratio, you only have to define the rack travel to steering pinion angle in rad per meter, or you can define a 1D lookup table of pinion angle versus the ratio, that is rad per meter, or you have the 1D lookup table for rack travel versus pinion angle. Whatever you find desirable, you can go ahead. And as I already stated earlier, the more the number of node points, the better, or the accurate your results or the subsystem will be. So currently I have selected characteristic value. Now, if some team needs to define the dynamic steer ratio, that is the steering torque based, then they have the same options in the steering gear ratio, while they have an additional option, that is the mechanical module, In the mechanical module, they have to define the inertia of steering wheel, rotational damping, mass of steering rack, translational damping, maximum travel of steering rack, and the amplification. Now here you can see the mass of steering rack has come. Now we haven't defined if you select the static steer ratio, then we are not defining any masses of the steering system. Then where will these masses go? So all the masses of the steering system have to be included here. When you go to body structure, aerodynamics is not specified. In structure, when you are putting the mass here, all the sprung masses, so all the sprung masses means which all sprung masses. So any of the sprung mass that you haven't defined individually in any of the subsystem tabs, you have to include all the sprung masses here. And considering all the sprung masses, whatever is the center of gravity of those sprung masses, not of the overall vehicle, that position of that center of gravity you have to define here with respect to FR1. Now, okay, so you are defining the center of gravity of your sprung masses here. So where will you get the value of the overall center of gravity of the vehicle? So you can go at the info tab at the bottom. So this will open this particular dialog box. Now you can see here the overall mass of the vehicle overall center of gravity. So this is including all the components, all the sprung, unsprung masses and the trim loads. So here you will get the position of your overall center of gravity of the vehicle. And this is a dynamic dialog box. Dynamic how? So for example, yeah, both of these are opened simultaneously. Now, if I change the position or the center of gravity position of the sprung masses, say it is 1.482, I am putting it 1.3. Then you can observe the change in this vehicle overall center of gravity in the dialog box which is below. Just observe the change. So it is a dynamic tab and you can refer this. Okay. Okay, so while submitting the design spec sheet for this year, design specification sheet, so where it will be asked, you have to select the vehicle overall center of gravity. You have to put the value. You have to submit it. So that value you have to take it from here. Vehicle overall center of gravity from the car maker, not by calculating it what you can say theoretically, but you have to directly observe this and you have to put this value for your vehicle with the design spec sheet. So I'll close this tab. Now we were on the steering, so I hope steering is clear. Moving on to the tires. So tire part for the teams which do not want to design their tire, so Baha will be sharing a particular tire file with them. And currently, if any teams want to generate their tire, then as Vasant said, we will be uploading the generation of tire dataset or the generation of tire file PDF in the IPG user manuals link that you already have with you. So we will be including that there. So request all the teams to download all the manuals that are available in the link that has been provided in the IPG CarMaker guidelines. You can access all the manuals from there, including this new manual that is the generation of tire dataset that will be shared by the ATS team. Okay, so currently, if the teams don't want to go into detail in this and they just want to use the file that Baha will share, then they can leave this as default and they can move ahead, or they can directly edit it from here also. The rim radius, the aspect ratio in the general parameters, load force maximum, nominal tire width, the slip points, alpha, and the model parameters here they have in detail: kinematic and load force, inclination angle influence, rolling resistance, relaxation length, standstill model. Then they have the scaling factors. So scaling factor is the same, amplification basically, another terminology for amplification, scaling factors. The values of longitudinal force, lateral force that you are providing here, so those will be scaled by a factor that you put in here. So it is 1.0. If you put 1.2, it will be scaled by a factor of 1.2. This was about the tire dataset. For the basic run, teams can leave the tire dataset as default, and after they have a running vehicle, then they can go on in optimizing the type of tire, a type of ATV tire to be specific. Now in the brake model, selected the hydraulic brake model. So please understand that the hydraulic brake, when you select the hydraulic brake model here, it is the in the background, car maker considers it as a H split brake model. H split hydraulic brake model. So you have to understand, you have to be clear on that. Hydraulic brake model implies here it is a H split brake model. Now in general, brake torque amplification. So you can change these values to see what is the change in output, and you can come towards the conclusion, or you can finalize your brake values. But in the final virtual event, you will have to put it as 1.2 only, the amplification values. Control, as regeneration brake mode is not allowed for MBAHA as well as EBAHA teams, you have to keep the control as default. And then you have to come to the system tab. So control basically for some of the most of these values, you have to also take cognizance of MBAHA rulebook for MBAHA teams and EBAHA rulebook for EBAHA teams that was shared already in the month of June 2020. So you have to also take the cognizance of that wherever required, and you have to see that you are not deviating from some of the values that are given there. Okay, so in the brake system part, here you can select the pressure distribution model, because this hydraulic ESP model, basically you can see what is the hydraulic ESP model in the reference manual. It is available, or in the user's guide. So hydraulic ESP model, it includes all the things that a commercial vehicle has, like say brake booster. After the brake pedal, there is a brake booster, then the brake lines, then maybe it will be solenoid motors. So all these things are there, which are not which is not the case in BAHA vehicle. So you can select pressure distribution model. In mode, you have two types: pedal actuation or pedal force. Pedal actuation to pressure master cylinder, and pedal actuation to pedal force value. So you have to fix here, right? Either you can define pedal force or pedal actuation depending on the data available to you, and this is completely up to the teams. And then these values: pedal force to P, pressure master cylinder, bar by Newton. Then the response time of your brake system, the build-up time of when you press the brake and when your wheels lock, build-up time. Then the pressure to brake torque values and park brake torque at wheel. All these values are already available with you, as you must have already designed your braking system. You just have to simply put those here. Okay. Okay, now coming towards the powertrain part. So as we have both the teams in this seminar, that is the MBAHA teams and EBAHA teams. So we'll firstly take the MBAHA powertrain, and then we'll move towards the EBAHA powertrain. Okay, so for MBAHA powertrain, you have to select conventional braking model. Conventional powertrain here. Here also you can select conventional. So you can see this is directly changed. So this particular graphic that you are seeing here, you can use it to directly jump on to particular things. Say for example, you want to jump in to your engine, then you can click on here, and directly the engine tab will appear. If you have to go towards your gearbox, then you can just select this green thing. You have to go towards the clutch, then you can select this. Okay, so this you can use it to directly jump onto any of the particular parameters that you want to edit. Okay, so MBAHA teams, MBAHA pattern I am taking here first. Conventional reconfiguration, also you have to select here conventional. Now go to the drive source. In the drive source, you have the engine at start. So as it was the case till last year, that all the engines for all the teams are fixed. Same is the case for this year. The engine is fixed for all the teams. It has been already defined in the car maker guidelines. What all values are to be given here in this engine tab. So in the engine tab, the inertia values, engine off speed is to be kept 500. Idle speed is to be kept 1700 or 1750. You can keep 1700 or 1750. Torque ignition of -80. Crankshaft orientation y-axis. Build-up time 0. So and you have to select the lookup table. Please note that in engine model you have to select lookup table. So all the teams have to select this only particular. You can also take a screenshot of this. All the teams have to select this particular, have to put this particular values in their vehicle dataset in engine, and any no team should deviate from this in the final virtual event. In the torque also, we have already mentioned in the IPG car maker guidelines, we have given a table there from which you have to put these values. So in the mapping model, go towards 1D lookup table. Go towards, then the values in this table are to be defined using the values given in the table in the IPG guidelines that have been shared with all the teams. So these values only I have put in here. If you can see, then if you have the IPG car maker guidelines with you, then you can refer page number 14 and you can see that those same values only I have taken here. Amplification has to be kept as 1. Now teams cannot change the amplification here to optimize these values as they can do it in suspension system. Amplification has to be strictly kept as 1, and these values also have to be strictly defined as per the guidelines. And this option has to be unselected, torque correction depending on environment conditions. So once you put all these values as per the guidelines, then the graphs that will be plotted, you can see it on my screen. These type of graphs will be plotted automatically from these values. Now moving towards fuel consumption, you just have to select this option of fuel consumption and leave rest of these values as default. There is no need to touch it, because if you deselect this, then the simulation might show an error and it won't run. So you have to select this fuel consumption tab and leave all these things as default. Turbocharger, it is to be kept as off. Intake manifold, it is to be kept as off. And now bodies. So for MBAHA teams, I'm again telling the general and tab, you have to select lookup table. You have to put inertia as 0.008, then engine off speed as 500, idle speed as 1750, torque ignition as -80, crankshaft orientation y-axis, build up time at 0. It is already mentioned in the IPG car maker guidelines. You can refer those. And the torque, 2D lookup table, engine speed and gas, the values have to be put in here as mentioned in the IPG car maker guidelines. Amplification value has to be kept as 1. Torque correction tab has to be kept as off. Fuel consumption tab, you have to select this tab, but ensure that all these values are kept default only. Turbocharger, it will be off. Intake manifold pressure tab will also be off. And the bodies tab. So here all the MBAHA teams have to define the engine mass as 23 kgs. And inertia will change depending on the design of your vehicle and the position and orientations. So mass you have to keep as 23 kgs. Remember this. And these assembly parameters, if you click on this, then you will be directed towards this particular dialog box that we already saw in the assembly part. So for MBAHA teams, engine, gearbox and tank, these only values they have to define here. Okay. So this was all about the engine. Now we will move towards the starter motor. For MBAHA teams, you just have to leave this part as default. Don't go in editing any of these values. Now the clutch tab. As most of the teams are using continuously variable transmission, so for the teams using CVT, they have to select the model as friction, inertia, position values, maximum torque. Okay, so this maximum torque value, just a second. So yes, so here the maximum torque value, the formula for calculating the maximum torque value which will be put in here has been already given in the IPG car maker guidelines. So this maximum torque implies that this is the maximum transmissible torque by your clutch. The teams using CVT, your CVT is the clutch. So the maximum transmissible torque by your CVT you have to put in here. So if you are considering the CVT, then what will be the maximum torque here? So maximum torque will be equal to the maximum engine torque. So you have to take the maximum engine torque as 19.2 Newton meter, which will be multiplied by your CVT low ratio, and you will get the value of your maximum torque. So okay, so for calculating the maximum torque value to be fed in here, all the MBAHA teams have to note it down that you have to select the maximum engine torque as 19.2 Newton meter. No team should deviate from this. Okay, so the clutch model friction, put these values as per your design. Just ensure that while calculating maximum torque, you are putting the maximum engine torque as 19.2, then multiply it with your CVT low ratio and you will get this value. So for now, we can put it as say, I'll put it at 60 Newton meter. Okay, and yeah, the torsional spring. So the torsional spring mode, the torsional spring in your CVT. So the characteristic value of the spring constant for that Newton meter per rad you have to put in here. You can define the lookup 1D lookup table, which is recommended, as it will give you accurate values or the accurate simulation output. Currently, for the basic run, you can select characteristic value. Now moving towards the gearbox. In the gearbox here, for the teams using manual transmission, you can select manual. For the most of the teams are using CVT, so I am showing for CVT. Okay, so in the gearbox, after selecting your model as continuously variable transmission, put in the inertia in and out values depending on the CVT, on your CVT, and then you have to put the maximum torque here again. So here also the maximum torque will be equal to here the maximum torque will also be is equal to the maximum transmissible torque of your CVT. So yeah, don't confuse it with the gearbox that you are using. Teams might confuse this particular gearbox with the two-stage gearbox, that two-stage reduction gearbox that they are using here. But for the teams who are using CVT, their CVT is both acts as a gearbox and acts as a clutch also inclusive. So here gearbox doesn't mean the transmissible torque of your two-stage reduction gearbox, but here the gearbox maximum torque implies the maximum torque of your CVT, maximum transmissible torque of your CVT. Don't include or don't multiply the maximum torque value here with your reduction value of the two-stage reduction gearbox, two-stage or three-stage depending on your design, whatever it is. So here also maximum torque, how will it come then? Multiply your maximum engine torque, which has to be taken as 19.2 Newton meter, and multiply it with your CVT low ratio. So that will give you the maximum torque. The maximum torque value here and the maximum torque value here, these both should be same. Here I have put 400 in the clutch model friction, and here also in CVT model I have put it as maximum torque 400 Newton meter. So to just this I am showing because both of these values should be equal, not necessary that this will be your value. Your value might be very less or might be very high depending on your design. And now going to the gears. So here CVT, as CVT provides in the CVT, the ratios are infinitesimally changed. So accordingly, say for example, the low ratio of your CVT is 3.5 and the high ratio is 0.5. So you have to define your CVT's minimum and maximum ratio here. 0.5, 3.5 I have defined for example, and build up time from the minimum to maximum. So it can be 1 second, it can be 1.5 second, it can be 2 seconds, depending on the design of your CVT. Now the ratios here. So whatever number of ratios you are selecting here on the right side, number of ratios you can see have been selected as 5. You have to define the factors accordingly here. Say for example, I will make it at 7. Number of ratios 7. So you can see that each of my ratio or the factor corresponding to it is increased by a value of 0.5, 0.5, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5. As my minimum was 0.5 and maximum ratio was 3.5. Now the number of ratios that I have defined here, and say that many torque loss ratio curves I will have to define. Torque loss ratio curve is basically torque loss versus rotational speed. Now, say for example, you have to define ratio number 4. Go to general tab, ratio number 4, you can see the factor is 2. That is your CVT's current ratio, running ratio is 2. So at the ratio of 2, what is the torque loss that is being generated by your CVT model? So you have to put these torque loss ratios here accordingly. For the initial run, if you don't have or if you have not yet calculated all this any of the torque loss ratio values, then you can simply put minimum and maximum ratios. You can put the build-up time as per your design. For the initial run, you can put it as 1 second. You can define the number of ratios as 6 or 7, and you have to define this. Just leave all these ratios as default for the initial run, I am telling, and after which you will have to define this torque loss ratios as per your CVT design. But for the initial run, you can leave it as default. So this is also one crucial part that you will be learning using the IPG car maker, and it is also one crucial part while the simulation. So if you make any mistake in defining these values, or you define it abruptly, then it will definitely show an error. So at initial, you can observe that the torque is negative. So initially, when you start the engine and when your CVT starts rotating, then it will give a negative torque on the opposite side of its actual rotation, and that's why it is negative. So if you don't define it as negative and you directly go on from 0, then your simulation might show an error. So make sure that very first torque loss values that you define are negative. Okay, and you have to the only one mode is available here, 2D lookup table mode. Now moving towards bodies. So here you have to put the mass of your gearbox, not your 2-stage or 3-stage reduction gearbox, but the mass of your CVT. You have to define it here. The CVT mass is inclusive of all the things of your primary, secondary, and your belt. Okay, so and the inertia of your CVT. So make sure you include it here, and don't confuse CVT and your 2-stage reduction gearbox. In CarMaker, gearbox means your CVT itself and not the 2-stage reduction gearbox. Clutch also means your CVT. That's why we had selected the friction model. Okay, so for the teams using CVT, clutch is equal to gearbox is equal to CVT as per CarMaker terms. Now moving towards the tank. So all the teams have to define the fuel tank value as 3 kg for all the Yamaha teams. And the inertia will be according to the positioning of the fuel tank. The driveline. The driveline is so for the teams who have designed a rear drive powertrain, they can select the rear drive. Now, as this is the first year where Baha has introduced all-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive vehicle also. So for those teams, you have the options here. You can see all-wheel drive, front drive, rear axle on demand, rear drive, front axle on demand, and universal drive. So you have all these options here. So it is of no issue. You can define a rear drive or an all-wheel drive. Okay. So currently I have selected a rear drive. Now you have to ensure that external torque off is selected at all times. For optimization purpose only, you can select this external torque at wheels. So you can see these arrows have appeared here, front left and front right. Actually, this must go at rear, but okay. So these arrows have appeared here. So what do they mean is that directly some external torque value will be defined here. So say for example, you have to define your transmission so as you get a torque of 600 Newton meter at your wheels. This you have considered for your initial design, and you have to optimize the torque value that you want. So you can use this external torque to wheels, and you can you can use this particular option for that particular thing. But at the end, when you pinpoint or when you finalize your torque value that you want and you design your pattern accordingly, then you have to put your external torque as off. Now the teams that you are using a rear drive with a 2-stage CVT and a 2-stage reduction gearbox, so the transmission ratio here, this implies the ratio of your 2-stage reduction gearbox. Here you have to put your ratio. It can be 6, it can be 7, it can be 8. It is dependent on your design. Currently I have put it as 7. It is completely dependent on your design. Efficiency is also dependent on your design. I have put it currently 97%, but it is depends on your design. Please understand this. And the coupling model, then you have to select. So if, for example, the team is using a rear drive and they are not using a differential, but they are using a simple spool type gearbox, 2-stage reduction gearbox, then they can select the model as locked. They have to define the friction coefficient between the gears, then the inertia of cage, inertia in, inertia out, the transmission value, efficiency. And the teams using a differential now, mostly from this is the teams using all-wheel drive, mostly they must be using a differential. So you can select whether your type is a gearbox type is a, or the coupling model specifically is a torque sensing type, vectoring type, or locked. You can select it accordingly, and accordingly you will have to define the characteristics of your powertrain driveline. Okay, so currently I have selected it as locked. Now, if you select this particular option of flexible driveline here, you have to go to rear axle, you have to go to drive shafts. Here you can see you can define the stiffness and damping value of your drive shafts or the half shafts. You have to define it here. But if you want to skip this part, or if you don't have these values, then you can simply unselect this. Okay, now if any team is putting all-wheel drive, then they have to define the coupling model and the transmission ratio for the front axle, for the rear axle, as well as for the differential center. For a differential center, they need to define the coupling model, then the coupling torque versus speed difference, the amplification here, the mounting, how it is. This front to rear, input to front, input to rear. Regarding this, to help you select a particular mounting, what has been written here, you can refer the IPG users guide. It is clearly mentioned, and it will definitely help you to select the value that you want as per your design. So currently I have selected a rear drive. Okay, for the MBAHA teams, you have to simply skip this power supply tab. Go to the control unit. Control unit, you have to select the model generic. Below also you have to select the operation state machine model as generic. Start engine with button. Gas interpreter option is dependent on teams. If you select this gas interpretation option, gas interpreter, then you have to go to gas, and gas in car maker simply means the accelerator or the accelerator pedal. So when you give full throttle, or when you press your accelerator pedal to the full, to its maximum extent, then it will give you full gas and the maximum torque. So here you can see maximum torque at full gas and minimum torque at zero gas. So you have to understand that minimum torque at zero gas will always be negative. If you put it at zero, then your simulation will definitely show an error. So you have to consider this. And if you can also define the 1D lookup table depending on the gas pedal versus torque characteristic, or the 2D lookup table depending on the vehicle speed versus gas pedal versus torque, and reference point at engine or at wheels, and maximum vehicle speed. If you are selecting, if any team is selecting 2D lookup table, ensure that the maximum vehicle speed you are limiting it to 60 km/h mandatorily. Or you can simply deselect this option and you don't have to input anything in the gas tab. Now moving towards the engine control unit, just leave it as basic and leave all these things as default. To the transmission control unit, as we have defined the powertrain gearbox as CVT, you will have to select the CVT here model here in the transmission control unit. The control mode, there are two options, single trap or speed envelope. You can define the speed envelope, that is throttle versus velocity versus rotational speed, or you can simply select the single track mode and you have to select the rotation speed. You can define it as your idle RPM also, 1750, not an issue. But ensure that you are not selecting it not specified, you are selecting it as CVT. Now moving towards MCU, you have to keep it as basic. Don't select it as not specified, select it as basic, because if you select it as not specified, it will show an error in simulation. And the BCU. So BCU you can select not specified. BCU is basically the battery control unit. MBAHA teams can select this model as not specified. So this was all about the MBAHA powertrain. Now moving on to the eBAHA powertrain. Now all the things that are being showed here, all these things are already mentioned in the IPG car maker guidelines released to you. So we highly recommend you to refer those, and it will definitely help you to grasp all these things, and it will help you to model your vehicle initially. Okay, so coming on towards the EBA part then. In the general model, you have to select electrical model. Configuration also you can select electrical, one motor, axle front or rear. So axle rear. One electric motor, you have to select this option. All the EBA teams have to select one electric motor only. You don't have any option other. You are not allowed to select any other option here. Go to the drive source. In the drive source, after selecting the one electric motor model, in the drive source in the electric motor, you have to put all these values as per the electric motor you are using, and all the EBA teams have to check the EBA rulebook also that was released in the month of June 2020 for this. And remember that deviation from the EBA rulebook that was shared previously is not allowed at all. You have to be within the limits that have been mentioned, all the rules that have been specified in the EBA rulebook. So electric motor as per that you have to define here in the general. High voltage 1. Then 1D lookup table you have to select friction coefficient, build-up time, ratio, and inertia. And the torque motor model, generator model, you have to just leave it as default. As there is no option to select not specified, you can leave it as default. In the motor model, characteristic value or 1D lookup table, torque versus rotational speed, amplification you have to put 1.0, or else you can select the characteristic value, mechanical power, maximum torque, and maximum rotational speed here. And the efficiency as per your designed system and the number of components and the type of you are using, you have to define those here. Okay. And then after the efficiency, then in the bodies you have to define the mass of the electric motor and the inertia as per its positioning. When you go to the assembly parameters, here also you have to you have to define the position and orientation. Electric motor, gearbox, rest all things leave it as default. Just concentrate on these two things, electric motor and gearbox M, and then the power supply. Rest all things can be left as default. As we have selected one electric motor only, that's why we have to define this. Drive source 1, 2, and 3, this you don't have to define, as we are using one electric motor only. And then the gearbox M. Gearbox M also, depending on the type of your system, you can select it here. Say for example, manual system. The number of gears you have to put in here. The reverse gear is also available to be put here. Characteristic value or 2D lookup table you can put. In the 2D lookup table, you will have to define the torque loss values of all these gears. R1 is reverse gear 1. And if you don't have these torque loss values, then you have to select the characteristic value, and you can just define the number of forward gears, its ratios, and the number of reverse gear and its ratios. This is completely depending on the availability of the values with you. Okay. And then in the bodies tab, you have to define the mass of your gearbox and the inertia. Okay. Then moving towards the driveline tab. In the driveline, all the EBA teams have to ensure that they select rear drive model only in the driveline. External torque should be put as off all the times. Only for optimization purpose you can use external torque to wheels, but finally for the final virtual dynamic events you have to put the external torque as off. Flexible driveline mode, if you select the type of the coupling that you have, whether it is a lock type, it is viscoelastic type, torque sensing, or torque vectoring, and you have to put the transmission ratio here, and the efficiency depending upon the design and the type of the components in your powertrain system. Okay, so this was about the driveline. All the teams have to select rear drive only, EBA teams. For power supply, then in the power supply, only high voltage or we can say this one, low voltage plus high voltage one model has to be selected for power source, depending upon the circuit design. Okay. So only simply high voltage option is not available in car maker. And that's why you will have to select low voltage plus high voltage one model. And then as you all know that complete high voltage system specifications should be 48 volt 2 and yeah, maximum 110 Ah. Okay, 48 to 60 volt your HV system specification can be. And rest for all the things you have to take the cognizance of EBAHA rule book. Please don't forget and don't deviate from the rules. Okay, by after selecting this low voltage plus high voltage model, go to this converter. You have to put the DC-DC converter maximum converter power here and the efficiency. Then the LV battery and the HV battery. So in the bodies, you have to define the mass and inertia of your batteries here. And in the general tab here, you have to put the capacitor and resistance values here as per your design. Okay. After power supply, then comes the control unit. In the control unit, in the PT model already, you have to select the electrical model. Start engine with key or with button. So you can keep it as start engine with button. This has no significant effect, so this is up to you. And then or don't select the electrical model. If you select the model as generic, okay, then you have the option to edit the gas interpreter tab here. So gas means the accelerator pedal only. You have to remember that. Or if you select the electrical model, then it will simply be off. Or you can it will be kept on only as default, and you have to go to the gas tab and you have to define the maximum torque at full gas, minimum torque at zero gas, characteristic value 1D lookup table or 2D lookup table. Please ensure that vehicle maximum speed should not be greater than 60 km per hour. Then the battery. You can deselect this option. Brake regeneration also you have to deselect. And then the TCU. For TCU, keep the model not specified. Okay. And then for the MCU, it is don't select not specified, but do select basic. And here torque controller PI value and speed controller PI values you will have to define, but don't select not specified. It might show an error during the simulation. And then finally the BCU, battery control unit. So with reference to the EBAHA rule book, the battery control unit model should be selected as low voltage plus high voltage 1. Okay. And for all the inputs of BCU, it will vary depending on your individual design and the entire circuit, how you have designed it, and the number of loads that are on your circuit. So this was about the EBAHA powertrain. Okay. The sensors part, leave it as default. This you can study it for educational purpose, but for virtual dynamic events, this is not required. Vehicle control also you have to leave it as default. This additional, so and leave it as default. Okay, so this was all about the vehicle data set. I'll just walk you through it again briefly. First is the file generator. So all the data that you are putting in vehicle dataset will override the data put in here. So this you can put it with the basic values available with you. And after that you have to concentrate on this vehicle dataset only, as the values in this generator tab will be overridden by this. Now in the assembly configuration, vehicle FR1 000, this is your coordinate system which is fixed, and all the positions and orientations of all the other masses that you will be defining should be in reference to this. So what is vehicle FR1 000, where does this origin come? So this origin comes at the ground when the rearmost point of the vehicle is traced to the ground. So that is your origin. Then the engine mount, for initial run I have selected it as rigid, and that's why the FR engine mode can be left as default. But if you are selecting 3 or 4 explicit force element or generalized joint force, then you will have to define the engine frame. Okay, so engine frame, how will you define? You will have to define the center of gravity of your engine with respect to the origin FR1, and that's how you can define the frame engine. But if you are selecting rigid, then you can simply leave it as default. That's not an issue at all. Now going towards the body tab. In the body tab, you have to leave it as default. For the chassis, you have to define the wheel carrier and wheel positions for all the front, left, front, rear left, rear right wheels, and the wheel carriers, the mass, moment of inertia, and position of all this. In the power train, for M bar teams, engine, gearbox, and tank. For the E bar teams, electric motor, gearbox M, and the power supply. So here you have to select FR1A. For the teams who are using the engine mount as flexible, that is the 3 explicit or 4 explicit force element or generalized joint force, then only they will have to put the mounting here as FR engine. Here also you have to select reference frame as FR engine then. But if you are using rigid engine mount, then you simply put it as FRD and leave it as FR1A. Okay. And then the trim load. All the teams have to define trim load 0 as the driver. All the M bar and E bar teams as well. Driver specify the mass at 75 kg and define the position and moment of inertia according to the design of your vehicle. And you can leave the mounting as FR1A. Okay, so all these positions have to be defined with respect to FR1, which will be your origin. Now moving towards body. Here, if you are selecting a rigid body, if you don't have, you can select rigid body if you don't have the torsional and bending stiffness values of the chassis with you, and that's so you can define rigid. And here the masses and the position. Here the center of gravity of all the sprung masses. The center of gravity position with reference to the origin, that is to be put here, but it will be only considering the sprung masses of the vehicle, and that complete total selective mass of all the sprung masses should be put in here. And when you go to this info tab, here you can find out the vehicle overall center of gravity. Okay, so you can find it here. Okay, and if some of the teams have this torsional and bending stiffness values available with them, then they can select the flexible vehicle body. They have to define the stiffness values, and they can also define the 1D lookup table, torque versus angle. 1D lookup table has to be selected wherever you for increasing the accuracy specifically of your dataset or of your model. Amplification has to be kept as 1. While designing for optimization purpose, you can use this as a scaling factor to pinpoint or to finalize or to come upon the value that you want to fix for your design. But after that, when you fix that value, you have to put that value here and you have to select the amplification as 1.0. Okay. For initial modeling, we highly recommend you to select all the basic things available with you, put all the basic values available with you, and get a running vehicle. And upon that running vehicle, then you can go on optimizing all the things so that you will exactly know what parameter is changing in the output set. So once you have a running vehicle and you go on optimizing a particular subsystem, then you will exactly know what effect it is having in output. That's why just get a basic running vehicle first with respect to the design that you have done currently. The outer shell.obj has been already cleared by ATS team. It is used for visualization purpose. And you can refer the IPG movie manual for this. Aerodynamics has to be left as not specified. Marker center of pressure also leave it as not specified. Suspensions, spring, stiffness values, either characteristic value or 1D lookup table has to be defined, and the amplification has to be kept as 1. Secondary spring, it is up to the teams if they want to define this or not. Damper also characteristic value or 1D lookup table. For front and rear you have to define it, and the amplification has to be kept on 1. Damper top mount is basically if you are using a flexible type of mounting, then you have to select damper top mount. You can select the damping and stiffness values here, but if it is a rigid mounting, then you have to unselect this option. Buffer and buffer 1 are mostly not used by bar teams. Buffer is not used by bar teams, so that's why the amplification has been put at 0, so that the software will interpret that this vehicle doesn't contain any buffer, and buffer 1 should be left as not specified. Similarly, stabilizer. So most of the bar teams don't use stabilizer at front, so you can leave the amplification at 0. And for the rear, teams use anti-roll bar, which is another name for stabilizer. So you can put the stiffness value of your stabilizer, or you can define the 1D lookup table, and you have to specify the amplification value as 1 then. For the teams who don't have a stabilizer at the rear also, they can leave the amplification at 0. Kinematics, for the front, linear 2 or 3 DOF model only has to be defined. For the rear, 1, 2 or 3 DOF model only has to be defined. Don't go on defining the SKC file. It is not allowed for the virtual dynamic events. For educational purpose, you can definitely explore that option. The kinematics, so this is the tab which will define the vehicle dynamic characteristics of your vehicle. So the dynamic characteristics including the what turning radius your vehicle will be getting, the minimum turning radius, then the wheel travel characteristics. So all this will be defined using this kinematics tab, which has already been cleared properly by Ravinder from ATS team today morning. Okay, and you can refer IPG reference manual, IPG users guide for this. Compliance has to be left default. Wheel bearing friction, you can define for front or rear, or you can leave it as default. External forces has to be left as default. Steering, 2 options: static steer ratio depending on based on angle, or dynamic steer ratio based on steering torque. Okay. Then tires, currently you can leave it as default for the basic run, or else Vasant has already covered the part where you can generate your own tire, or else at a later stage the Baha will also be providing a tire file for the teams who want to use that and don't want to design their own tire. In the brake part, hydraulic brake model here implies a H split braking system. Please remember that. In the general, you have to leave the amplification as 1. Control as regenerative brake model is not allowed for Baha teams. You have to leave this as default. System, you have to select pressure distribution model, pedal force or pedal actuation depending on the type of values that you have, and similarly depending on their braking calculations, you have to put all these values. Okay, powertrain. The powertrain for Baha teams, conventional powertrain has to be selected. Go to drive source. In the drive source, engine values, what engine values you have to specify here have already been given into the IPG car maker guidelines. For the torque values also, you have to select 2D lookup table, engine speed and gas. The values to be put in here are also covered in the IPG car maker guidelines. Baha team should not at all deviate from these values. Any team found deviating may face a penalty. So the general and the torque values have to be strictly defined as per the IPG car maker guidelines, and amplification has to be left as 1.0. Fuel consumption, you just have to select this option, and you can leave all the rest of the things as default, because if you deselect this option, then it will show an error while simulation. So just select this option. Turbocharger and intake manifold pressure, both of these things have to be kept as off. Bodies, all the Baha teams have to specify engine mass as 23. Inertia value has to be calculated depending on the individual positioning of all the components in the vehicle or individual engine positioning. Then the starter motor for Baha teams, you have to leave this as default. Then the clutch. For the clutch, you have to select the friction. For the teams using a continuously variable transmission, select the CVT model as friction, the clutch model as friction. You have to define the maximum torque here. The maximum torque will be defined here by multiplying the engine torque with your CVT low ratio. Engine torque has to be considered by all the teams as is equal to 19.2 Newton meter only. Again, I am repeating it. Maximum torque for all the Baha teams has to be considered as 19.2 Newton meter, and multiplying it by your CVT low ratio will get the maximum transmissible torque by your clutch. And then the torsional spring, you have to define the spring constant for the torsional spring, characteristic value or 1D lookup table. Okay. After that, going towards the gearbox. Now, to make it clear, the gearbox and clutch mean the same for continuously variable transmission. Don't confuse it with your two-stage reduction gearbox. So gearbox here also means your CVT itself. Model, you have to select CVT for the teams using a CVT, and the maximum torque value here should match with the value here for the teams using a CVT. So multiplying your CVT low ratio with your maximum engine torque, that is 19.2 Newton meter, will give you this particular value. And then the inertia values. And then going towards the gears, you have to define the minimum ratio and maximum ratio of your continuously variable transmission. You have to define the build-up time minimum to maximum. And then you have to define the number of ratios that you want to. Currently, I have selected 7 ratios here. For initial run, the teams can leave all these curves as default. But at a future, when optimizing your transmission system, at that point of time, you can use your own values here. But this is one of the most critical thing, and if you deviate from the general curves of general torque loss curves, to be specific, then it might show an error. And remember to put the very initial torque loss ratio value as negative, the torque value here, as it has been specified, or it will definitely show an error. Okay. And the body, in the bodies here, gearbox means your CVT. You have to define the mass of your CVT and the inertia. And the tank means your fuel tank. Fuel tank mass, all the teams have to define it as 3 strictly, and the inertia will depend upon the positioning of the fuel tank on your chassis. So this was about drive source, driveline, general, rear drive or all-wheel drive, depending on the type of transmission that you have designed. Then front drive, rear axle on demand, or rear drive, front axle on demand. External torque should be put as off. You can select external torque to wheels while designing or optimizing the values, but while final virtual dynamic events, you have to strictly select this as off. When you select flexible driveline option, then you will have to define the drive shaft values, stiffness and damping values here. If you don't have those values, just deselect this option. I have selected rear drive, so I only need to define the rear axle. For rear axle, if I am using a 2-stage reduction gearbox, pull type gearbox without a differential, I have to select the model as locked. And that the transmission ratio of your 2-stage reduction gearbox will be specified here. It will be depending upon your design. Efficiency will also be depending on the type of gears that you are using. And the inertias. For mounting, you can refer IPG user's guide or reference manual. And for the teams using differential, you can define torque sensing or torque. Okay, so for the teams using a differential, you can define torque sensing or torque vectoring here, or viscoelastic. And for the teams using a all-wheel drive, you have to define the front axle, rear axle, and the differential center values. Power supply, MBAR teams have to leave it as default. Control unit, PT control. In general, you have to select the model as generic. Gas interpreter, if you select it, then you will have to define the characteristic value mode of gas. Gas basically means the accelerator. So maximum torque at full gas and minimum torque at zero gas. You have to define it here. Gas means accelerator. Please note it down. And okay. So generic you have to select here. Here also model you have to select generic. Start engine key with key or button. It is insignificant at this stage. Now ECU, engine control unit, you have to select it as basics. Please don't select it as not specified, or your model will show an error while simulation. So you have to select as basic, and all the values you can leave it as default. Fuel cutoff you have to you can put as 1500 RPM. Transmission control unit you can select as not specified. For the teams using CVT, you have to select as continuously variable transmission. You have 2 control modes here, single track or speed envelope. Depending upon the availability of the data with you, you can select it. For the teams using single track, you can put in the value of rotational speed minimum as 1750 RPM. MCU model has to be left as basic, not specified. Remember to leave it as basic and leave the values as default. BCU, your MBAR teams have to select it as not specified. This was the MBAR powertrain. For the EBAR powertrain, you have to select electrical model. 1 electric motor has to be selected mandatorily by all the teams. In the drive source, the gearbox M and electric motor you can define as per your design, but you have to take the cognizance of EBAR rulebook already shared with all the teams. Your value shouldn't deviate from what have been specified, what is expected of you according to the EBAR rulebook. So the gearbox M and electric motor. So electric motor 1D lookup table you can put in inertia ratio, build-up time, friction coefficient, and then voltage level. The torque values, generator model you have to leave it as default. Motor model you have to specify the values. Efficiency depending on the number of components and the type of components you have used, you have to put in the efficiency, and then the bodies, electric motor, mass and inertia. And similarly for gearbox M, the bodies you can define the mass and inertia of the gearbox M. And for the EBAR teams, when you go to the assembly parameters, you have to remember that you only have to see 2 values: electric motor, gearbox, and power supply. Rest all are insignificant. Now going towards driveline, you have to all EBAR teams have to select rear drive. So flexible driveline, if you select, then you have to define the drive shafts. But if you don't have the stiffness and damping values of your half shafts, then you can unselect this option. you have to put external torque as off strictly. Rear axle, you have to define the transmission ratio and the efficiency and the inertia values. The power supply, in general, you have to select low voltage plus high voltage model. As a high voltage model is not individually available with car maker, you have to select this low voltage plus high voltage model. Auxiliary consumer, this will be dependent on the number of loads in your circuit. The converter, DC-DC converter maximum power you have to define. The efficiency will will be depending upon your design. And the LV and HV battery, you have to define the mass, inertia, and the orientation and position will be defined here. And then for the LV battery, so these the values in the general tab, that is your capacitor and resistance values, have to be defined here as per your design. And the control unit, PT control unit, you can select generic model or the electrical model, and start engine with key or button, no problem. Model here, operation state machine, you have to select as generic. Gas means accelerator pedal, the performance, the maximum torque at full gas and minimum torque at zero gas. Okay, minimum torque value should be negative or it might show an error during simulation. Please remember that. Battery management, regeneration is to be left as off, and battery management can be selected or deselected depending upon the values that you have. TCU, whatever type of transmission you are using, you have to select it here. If you are using CVT, then select CVT. If not a CVT, then you can leave it as not specified. MCU, you have to select basic, and electric motor torque control and speed control values you have to define. And then BCU, battery control unit, low voltage plus high voltage one, you have to select it. Okay, so yes, this was about all about the vehicle data set. So we have finished and we have covered all the things here. So we highly want the teams and we encourage the teams to go through the IPG Carmaker guidelines thoroughly, go through the IPG Quick Start guide thoroughly, and take reference of the IPG users guide and IPG reference manuals already shared with you. We will also, Vasant will also share the generation of tire dataset PDF that will also be put in the link that you have been already given in the IPG Carmaker guidelines. So you can access that folder of IPG Carmaker user manuals and it will be available to download. Probably in the next 4 to 5 days, it will be available to you. And yeah, so you can start building your basic vehicle from this. Tomorrow will be the last session on IPG Carmaker training. So it will be based on simulation, IPG driver, and how to put the maneuvers and what all output quantities you get, and the IPG control. IPG control already has been covered by the ATS team. You can also explore that as now you have the licenses installed. So IPG, in the IPG control, you can see the output quantities there. You can see after running a simulation, you can see how the different parameters are changing with respect to time. Say for example, say you have to calculate the stopping distance or the stopping time of your design braking system, then you can use the IPG control tab for that. The real-time dynamic curves are generated there. While running a simulation also, you can open it and you can see, or you can you can see the variation in a particular value that you have selected. Okay, so refer all these manuals, refer IPG Carmaker guidelines, and all the values, the engine values that are fixed for MBAR teams. No team should deviate from that or may face an penalty. So yeah, this was it about the vehicle dataset session. Just a second.